Well, come to Unspoken Affairs. My name is Alan, and this is the story of how my marriage ended in a way I never saw coming. For 10 years, I've been an aircraft mechanic, the kind of work that leaves you with grease under your fingernails, sore shoulders, and the satisfaction of knowing you're trusted to keep people safe thousands of feet in the air. It isn't glamorous, but it's steady, honest. And it's the kind of career where you earn your living with your hands, not fancy words. Every day I'd come home tired, but proud of what I'd done. My wife, Kimberly, lived in a different world. She managed a salon downtown, a place filled with mirrors, laughter, and perfume. She had a sharp eye for style and always dressed as though the world was a fashion shoot. I used to tell myself that was part of her charm. We'd been together 7 years, married for 5. Long enough to know the small quirks, the little annoyances, the unspoken rhythms of marriage. It wasn't perfect, no marriage ever is, but I thought it was steady enough to last. Kimberly had always leaned toward the finer side of life. Designer handbags and crisp shopping bags, champagne brunches, weekends away, the kind of indulgences that add up when you're the one quietly footing the bill. I covered most of it without complaint. That's what husbands do, I thought. Keeping her happy meant keeping us strong, or so I believed. I never imagined how quickly that belief would unravel. It began with a visit from someone I'd never considered a threat. An old college friend of Kimberly's. It's a woman named Serafina Das. She arrived on a Friday evening, suitcase in hand, her voice loud enough to fill every corner of the house. She had one of those personalities that turns every word into a performance. Motivational catchphrases seemed to pour out of her naturally. Know your worth, never settle. Demand more. Even her laughter sounded rehearsed. From the very first night, I felt something shift. At dinner, I asked a simple question about her flight. She brushed me off as though my words weren't worth her time and instead looked straight at Kimberly. You know, Kimberly, women today shouldn't be carrying the weight alone. Men should step up and invest. If they don't, someone else will. She smirked when she said it, letting her eyes flicker toward me before returning to my wife. Kimberly didn't say much, but she nodded. That small nod hit harder than anything Serafina had said. The weekend played out like a script. Kept circling back to relationships, money, and what women deserved. Every remark carried an edge, a pointed reminder that men fall short and women shouldn't settle. Kimberly laughed more with her than she had with me in months. The sound of it stung in a way I didn't want to admit. I stayed quiet, filing it away. It wasn't worth a fight. Not yet, but inside unease was already coiling. When the weekend ended and Serafina left, the shift didn't go with her. Kimberly became quieter with me, but never with her phone. She texted and called Serafina constantly, her laughter spilling into the screen, not into our living room. I tried not to overthink it. We'd had quiet spells before. But 3 nights later, I stumbled onto something I couldn't ignore. We shared an old tablet synced to Kimberly's iCloud. I used it now and then for flight manuals. That night, when I opened it to check a PDF, I noticed a new Fila voice memo. Curiosity gnawed at me. I tapped play. Serafina's voice came through instantly. Kimberly, you need to reset the balance. Tell Alan you need space. Go stay somewhere else for a week. Make him think he could lose you. If he values you, he'll fight for you. If not, maybe it's time to explore other options. Don't waste years waiting for a man to wake up. Her words weren't playful advice. They were instructions. A plan. And what cut deepest was Kimberly's silence. She hadn't stopped it. She had listened. The very next evening, Kimberly cleared her throat while I buttoned my shirt for a night shift. Alan, she said softly, almost rehearsed, I think I need a little time for myself. Maybe a week. To think about us. My voice stayed steady. Where will you stay? With Serafina, she answered quickly. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just said, do what you need. She looked almost disappointed at my calmness, as if she had expected resistance. She packed a bag, kissed my cheek, and left. But she didn't go where she claimed. Later that night, a notification from our joint credit card buzzed on my phone. A ride-hailing charge. Not to Serafina's place, but to the Linen Hotel across town. An hour later, another charge for two. At a rooftop bar, my stomach tightened, but I kept my hands steady. The next morning, I checked our linked accounts. A new transfer had hit Kimberly's personal wallet app. The sender's name was Samuel Graves. The note read, "Last night was perfect." I screenshotted it, each line like a nail in the coffin. Serafina had planted the seed, Kimberly had watered it, and Samuel was the bloom. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I watched. At work, a coworker named Callan caught me in the break room. "Everything good with you and Kimberly?" he asked. When I raised an eyebrow, he explained, "My wife saw her at Bellamy's wine bar last night," said she. "Was with some tall guy, brown hair. They were close, not like friends close." I thanked him, kept my face unreadable, and tucked it away. That night, I pulled up our smart lock records. Kimberly hadn't come home once since she left. Not a single code entered. She wasn't staying with Serafina. I remembered the suitcase she carried, one with an AirTag I had slipped in months earlier. I checked the tracker. The dot pulsed from Bayview Residences, a high-rise nowhere near. Serafina's each charge on the credit card told the same story: boutiques, seafood dinners, dessert bars. None of it matched a woman sitting alone reflecting on her marriage. I didn't shout. I didn't accuse. I redirected my paycheck into a new personal account. I scanned receipts, AirTag screenshots, bank alerts, and Samuel's note into a folder. Kimberly texted me casually, "Morning, hope your shift went okay. I'm still thinking. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk." She thought I was waiting. In truth, I was preparing. By Thursday, I knew watching wasn't enough. I needed protection. I called an attorney named Draven Hall, a man recommended by a retired coworker. I laid out the situation without names at first. His answer was blunt. "That's called dissipation of marital assets. Courts don't look kindly on it, especially if you can prove the trail." I had the trail. He advised me to cut off her access immediately. Don't let her rack up another bill. Stay calm. Judges notice who loses control. That afternoon, I canceled the joint credit card, the same one she'd been swiping at hotels and restaurants. Within an hour, she was cut off from my money. At home, I pulled down boxes from the attic and began packing her things. I wasn't throwing them out. I was preparing her exit by Sunday. My finances were secure, her things boxed, and the legal papers in motion. Kimberly thought she was testing me. In reality, I was setting the stage for the move she wouldn't see coming. That evening, a text buzzed on my phone. "Hey, I think I'm ready to talk." Tuesday after work. She added a heart emoji. Like, we were still normal. I typed back, "Tuesday at 6, works." Nothing more. The next day, I laid everything out, neatly clipped in a folder. On top, the divorce papers Draven had prepared. The boxes sat by the door. At 5:55, the front camera buzzed. Kimberly arrived, but she wasn't alone. Serafina stepped out of the car with her. My jaw clenched. They rang the bell. I waited 10 seconds before opening. Kimberly smiled, casual. "Alan, it's good to see you." I stepped aside. "Come in." Their eyes went immediately to the wall of boxes. Kimberly's smile faltered. Though she kept walking, Serafina smirked, convinced she had the upper hand. "Wow," Kimberly said softly. "You been busy?" "Organization helps," I replied, calm as stone. They sat together on the couch, expecting me to plead to fight. Instead, I slid the folder across the table. "Everything you need to see is right there. We'll go through it page by page." For the first time, Serafina was silent. Kimberly opened the folder. The first page showed the Linen Hotel charge. Her lips parted. The second page displayed the AirTag map, the blue dot glowing over Bayview Residences. "What is this?" she whispered. "It's where your suitcase spent the night," I said evenly. Serafina leaned forward, her tone sharp. Alan, this is unnecessary. Kimberly needed clarity. You should be grateful she's here to talk. I ignored her and flipped the page. Samuel's payment note stared back at Kimberly, her face drained. Samuel, I said, looking at her, doesn't sound like a therapist or a friend. He sounds like a man you've been seeing while charging the bills to our account. Kimberly's hands shook. It wasn't like that. It just happened. Serafina cut in, defensive. I told you to test him, not to jump into bed with Samuel. I raised my hand, silencing them both. Enough. The facts are there. You followed her advice. You cheated. You lied. You used my money to fund it. Kimberly's tears spilled. Alan, please. I was confused. Samuel made me feel valued, but I never meant for it to go this far. I slid the final document toward her. Divorce papers. You went as far as you wanted. Now I'm making my move. The marriage is over. She shook her head. Don't throw away 5 years over one mistake. My voice stayed low, steady. This wasn't one mistake. This was a week of lies, hotels, dinners, and another man's name in your phone. That's not confusion. That's a choice. Repeated. Deliberate. Serafina opened her mouth again, but the look I gave her made her close it. Q really sobbed, but I didn't flinch. My decision was already made. When they left, the phone calls began. First, her mother, Clarissa Allen. She's confused. Marriage is hard. Don't give up over a rough patch. My tone stayed flat. Clarissa, it wasn't confusion. It was hotels, restaurants, another man's money. The papers are signed. Then her brother Everett. Man up, Alan. Women test us. You should fight for her. I don't fight to keep someone who already walked out, I said, then hung up. The pressure kept coming. Aunts, cousins, even her grandmother. All with the same script. Forgive. Her marriage takes work. Don't throw it away. I repeated this same line. The documents explain everything. My sister Lucinda showed up Wednesday night. Don't answer the phone, she said. Eat, sleep. Let them talk to the walls. Her bluntness was a relief. That evening, my coworker Ken texted me a screenshot. Serafina had already posted online, hinting I couldn't handle a strong woman. I didn't reply. It wasn't worth my energy at work. I kept my hands busier than ever, my head clearer with each bolt I tightened. At home, the silence was heavy, but clean. No reality shows blaring, no forced small talk, no excuses. Kimberly and her circle thought their pressure would break me. They didn't understand. Every call only made me more certain. The marriage wasn't limping, it was already over. By Friday, Kimberly returned alone to collect the rest of her things. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Alan, can we at least talk? Just us. There's nothing left to talk about, I said. My voice wasn't cruel, just final. She tried again. I know I messed up. I listened to Serafina when I should have listened to you. Samuel doesn't mean anything. I was stupid. I didn't raise my voice. You made choices. Hotels, transfers, lies. You don't erase that with one apology. It's done. Her lip trembled, but she nodded slowly. She lingered by the trunk, waiting for me to change my mind. I didn't. She drove away. That night, she sent one last message. I ruined everything. I hope someday you'll forgive me. I left it unread. During the settlement, Kimberly didn't even try to fight for the house. It had been mine before the marriage. It ended up in a small rental across town. No driveway, no yard. Just 4 walls she could manage alone. Samuel disappeared quickly. Men like him enjoy the thrill, not the reality. When the bills were hers to pay, he lost interest. Within weeks, they weren't seen together. She lost the house, the marriage, and the man she thought was better. I rehung the framed schematic of a jet engine in the living room. It wasn't just decoration. It was a reminder of the discipline that built this home and the strength that kept it standing long after she was gone. Calls from her family slowed. Draven confirmed the papers had been processed and the separation was moving forward without issue. Serafina posted more cryptic quotes online, but I stopped even glancing. One Sunday, I sat on the back steps of my house. The same life I'd always had was still here, steady, waiting. Kimberly had followed her friend's advice and cheated, but she never expected the move I made. I chose the quiet strength of walking away. And in the end, that was louder than anything she or her friend could ever say.